So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for another wizard session. Um, I'm going to say right at the beginning here, if you haven't heard, this is actually going to be the last wizard session. This is our final one. So we appreciate you all joining us for the last session. We've had a really good time being able to do these for everybody, and hopefully everybody's found them useful and you've learned a lot. We certainly have in the process. All right. As always, the product statement, safe harbor. Don't make any purchasing decisions based on the many forward-looking statements we're certainly going to make during this session. IntelliJ, if you're still using it, I just want to know why. You don't need it anymore. We got the tools. Move on. If you are, it's the plugin's on the same version it's been for 3 months. Yeah, that's fair enough. We'll see where that goes. All right. Devrel. We got the mighty Nick Moores for
Well,
some Devrel
hello.
donations. Good morning,
Hello,
sir.
hello. Hey, folks. So, good news. DevCon digital registration is available. It is free. We are super duper sold out for in-person DevCon. However, we encourage you, if you are already attending, to sign up for a pro certification, potentially for the hackathon, potentially for the learner track. And then just a reminder that digital registration is free. You get so much of the awesome knowledge and content delivered straight to you. It's going to be great. And then just a FYI on this next bit for developer deep dives, we're not doing this month's session because we are busy making DevCon happen. However, you know where to find us. Back to our scheduled programming next month. And my news on all of this is just stay tuned. You're going to get so much amazing news at DevCon. And then that'll be followed up with a crap ton of enablement and awesome videos and updates and all that good stuff. So bear with us. We are in the final stages of getting everything ready for a really, really, really amazing DevCon.
I'm stoked. I'm always excited. I love DEF CON.
Yeah, it's going to be
Um,
amazing. Just amazing.
it's gonna be a good time. Excellent. All right, let's move on to some product updates. There are so many updates. It's really workday slowdown. I I didn't have enough time to get everything ready for stuff that went live this weekend. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get time to like demo all of it, but there's so much and there's so much good stuff. And let's look at what kind of things that we got. All right, first up, the app builder landing page has been updated. Okay. Let me open the developer site here so we can look at this. Now, for me, the jury's still out. I haven't spent much time with it. Um, I'd love to hear what other folks think about the new experience. But when you open it, you get this new landing page, and so it's more of a guided experience. It's going to help you kind of look to what do you want to do. Do you need to connect to a tenant, create a new component? And you can still access everything just like before with the side panel. Um, so hopefully this is a great quality of life enhancement for folks. But again, interested to hear how folks find it. I'm sure Workday would love the feedback. But it's out there, it's live. Take a look. All right, next up, side-by-side view with column layouts. This is pretty cool too. This is another, we got a lot of UI enhancements, and really, like, let's be honest, we've needed a lot of love on the UI side customization for a while. Everybody's been asking for it for years, and we're being showered with things, right? It's awesome. So I'm just going to show you what Adam has in the post here. But it's cool because this is the kind of view that is, I think, more modern and allows you to get um, make better use of the real estate on your page, right? Control where things go. There's some good examples on this of the different number of columns. You can do 1 to 3. Take a look at the post. I'm gonna throw it in chat. Good stuff. Okay. And also worth noting on these posts, there's a lot of activity. I'm noticing a lot of conversation with people who are testing, experimenting, finding places there's some issues Workday's aware of, other places just kind of figuring out how to make it work. So if you want to learn more, go out to these posts and follow along with the comments and how people are using this stuff. All right. Now, enhanced form layout properties. This is one that I'm really excited about. We got a bunch of new configuration attributes to go on various configuration for sections, groupings, field sets, and they allow us to control alignments, density, widgets, stretching, how much space they take up. Super cool stuff. And we're going to look at that because I do have a demo for that. But we're going to veer off a little bit first. I'm going to open this in another window here. But first, also, App Manager got some love too. We'll look at the enhancement in a second. I just want to, while we're here, let's look at App Manager updates. Okay. So even this first page with the apps looks a little different, right? All right. Some questions. Looks like Clint's on it here. So if we go configure, and as the whole thing is different, which is always jarring, right? You got the muscle memory, you're used to what it looks like, and you come in here and you're just like, what happened to my page? So maybe it's gonna take a little getting used to here, but I like it. I like it. There's a lot of useful information at a glance. Um, got the nice cards up here at the top, side by side. I feel like the navigation makes, I, personally, I'm not endlessly scrolling, right, to get to all the stuff I need here. Um, I think it looks great. But again, it's new, it's different. So get in there, take a look, get used to it, and give Workday your feedback. All right, let's talk about the density, okay? Now, I have a couple pages where we're going to show kind of the same thing, but density is going to allow us to change how tightly our widgets are stacked effectively. Okay. So low density, see a lot of spacing here in each of these sections, right? We go to medium, it's kind of standard. Things tighten up a little bit. And when we go to high, you get the things are really tightly stacked. Okay. One thing I'm going to note here, we're also on this page, I'm using the stretch on the widget. So you can see this widget is taking up the full. This is, you just think about here, this is a visible line, right? With where this, I should be annotating like Mr. Clint Harwood, but I'm not. So in the high density section here, you think there's like an invisible box and we're stretching the widget out all the way to the end there. And we're getting those labels stacked on top, right? So those are kind of different controls. They're giving us a little more levers and knobs we can pull around the UI to make it look the way we want. Okay. So there's more. Enough time to get through to demo all of them, but check it out. Shameless plug, favorite. Oh, yep, YouTube. Check it out. This kind of stuff that I'm sure Tony covers.
Yeah, man. It's got all of our deep dives, it's got all of our DPUCs, it's got tutorial videos. We're really pivoting towards how much public content can we make. And it's going right on the frickin' Workday YouTube. And shameless plug that if it performs well, we will be granted our very own channel. Don't at all search for Workday developers on YouTube and look at this gorgeous channel in waiting. Don't do that because it definitely doesn't exist. Don't think that. But I trust you guys. It's going to be really, really great. We welcome your support, your feedback. We got a great crew of advocates, 2 new ones that have been hired since the last call that are raring to get going. So we appreciate you
Yeah,
guys greatly.
I'm excited. They brought some good energy to the call last week. Um, and also, new Dev Talk episode got posted with Kathy Pham. Is a good one.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to that one, I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it. And I also like the reversal where Nick got interviewed a little bit too. We need more of
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert, but there's an episode coming with Mark Woolen, who is the head of our partner organization at Workday. And we are
Hmm.
explicitly, he hosts his own show. So we kind of interview each other. It's adorable. And so
Great.
there's going to be a cut of it on his show, a cut of it on my show. Yeah, everyone gets interviewed. And I like that. So I think you will too.
You get an interview, and you get an interview, and you get an interview.
Yes,
Everybody gets an interview. Awesome. All
indeed.
right. Layouts. Good stuff. You can see I got some nice graphics here. My one of my colleagues bedazzled our sample page. Um, okay, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but while I'm in here, we got this new multi-step widget, which is super cool. It's a single page that allows you to go through steps, right? Like a wizard style. Um, and I also thought this would be a cool place to demonstrate the density as well. So you can see the middle one has the medium and number three has the high. And you can click and jump straight around. Super cool. One set of outbounds, one set of inbounds, single page, but gives you more of a wizard experience. And we like wizard experiences here. So wizard sessions. All right. I'm gonna close there. I jumped ahead. This is the multi-step. I'm gonna throw this into chat. Multi-step layout. This is that to answer your question, multi-step layout. All right. What else we got here? Save for later functionality in Edit Wizard. Finally. When Clint and I were working in field readiness, I can't think of many other things that we saw come through for widgets than the request for Edit Wizard to have save functionality, save for later. Yeah. This is it. I'm not demoing it because it's save button, but yeah, that's true facts, Nick. True facts. It's here. Workday delivered. We're eating good, fam. All right. Persistent panel size and expression builder user preferences. Okay, so basically in Orchestrate, and maybe Clint, you can show this when you get into your orchestrations later. Yeah, like who really gets annoyed when they have to re-stretch like things in there? Workday, if you're listening, if you're on the call, keep giving the orchestration builder love because it needs more. This is a great step. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Moshinsky and team. All right. The final one. I'm not going to talk about it. Kill orchestration. Um, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm gonna put the link to killing here. I'm going to also say, as I noted in the post, kill orchestration is not an advocation of violence against orchestrate. Okay, not advocating violence against orchestrations. Be kind. I'm gonna hand it over to Clint. Clint's gonna talk orchestration management. He's got a lot of good stuff. So let's go.
Alrighty, let me share the screen here and get my annotations up and those where they need to be. So I have to give a shout out to Brandon, the person you may know from a certain DevCon keynote, who had a great line about, how to kill an orchestration. You'll find it up on the dev forum, which is just hire John Wick. But what happens if you can't afford it and you want to go around and do things a little bit more appropriately here. Exactly right, Niels. That runaway orchestration, it's gone to a farm. It's the way it's supposed to be. So I want to talk for a little bit because this is going to change depending on the template. And I'm going to give some specifics on O4I because O4I is its own little world. And then we're going to play around because there's two different orchestration API toolkits. So we're going to see that there's a couple different ones and they have some interesting ways of working. They do some unique stuff. And I got to say, when I first was looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, orchestration kill. That presentation is going to take what? I don't know, 30 seconds? Kill orchestration. Boop. And then I got into it and realized it's a little meatier than I expected. I'm kind of I'm kind of excited. There's some fun stuff here. So let's first talk about what orchestrations can run away. Like if that orchestration is going to run away and we need to take it to the farm up state, um, if it's a synchronous orchestration, it's probably not that big a deal. This is not a challenge. Do not go and destroy your tenant with a synchronous orchestration, please. I know you can do it. I have seen it done. Please don't. But when you're dealing with the synchronous design pattern, it's got a 6-minute cutoff. Like sync works automatically terminate after 6 minutes. And generally, if you're using them inside of a page, the gateway kills them in 24 seconds. So synchronous orchestrations, yeah, they don't normally have too much trouble. However, you can spawn other orchestrations with them, as we'll see a little bit later on in this presentation. And that's when you're going to start seeing some fun challenges that come along with it. The next one, O4Is. O4Is are handled like integrations, but there's a catch. There's a trick. One little trick that nobody's talking about, or at least I'm pretty sure that there's lots of documentation on the dev forum about it, but we do need to discuss, okay, what do I need to do to make my O4I killable? Well, cancelable. And then we're going to get into async and BP triggered. And I have to say something to Joe Carroll. Joe, you're making me eat my words, man. 2 years ago, I said async orchestrations. They're dead. You're never going to use those anymore. Like, honestly, just use an O5 for everything. I have to eat my words because I keep coming up with more and more situations where async and BP triggered really make good sense. And so I want to talk more about how to manage these things. When we're managing these, I really want to dig into, okay, what do I do? Because async now is what's really going to be most enabled by cancels and kills. So let's talk about the easy one first. It's an O4I. So if I look at an orchestration for integration and I want to actually stop it, I want this O4I to go away, what do? I'm not going to use the kill functionality. I thought about trying to make that happen, but realized that that's not the right answer at all. What you want to do is you want to treat it like an integration. An O4I is an integration, therefore we want it to be aborted like an integration. And how do you do that? Well, if you're looking at your background process inside your tenant, we go to background process abort. That's it. Or is it? Because I want you to notice I have this message here that says, wait a minute, that override that I sent over there, that's not cancelable. Wait, what? I had all the rights I needed. I had launched this integration. I was the one who launched it. I had all the security I needed for it. I was actually running this cancel as an implementer. I had all the security. But why wasn't this cancelable here? Sorry to give you the flashbacks there, Nick. But yes, that's the other thing I want to highlight here is this is under a background process here. So you think I need to cancel the integration event? That's not right. You're canceling the background process. So make sure that you're canceling the right thing. So if you get this message, how do you make this better? How do you I take the same integration, and I took the exact same integration. I made one change in the integration, and it became cancelable. What you need to do for your O for I is you need to set a cancellation barrier. Now, you can set a cancellation barrier on any of the long-running orchestrations, not just O for I's. You'll notice that the screenshot I've got here, you can probably tell from the name, is actually an async. However, I'm going to show this to you in async and O for I so we can start playing around with some of the ideas here. Because what you need to do is you need to set the cancel orchestration and either put it at the end of the orchestration, or you need to place a cancellation barrier somewhere in your orchestration. Now, this has got kind of a cool little background because now we need to talk a little bit about design. Where is it going to be safe to cancel my orchestration? Let's go look at an example because I think that this will make this a lot more clear. So I've got an asynchronous orchestration here. It's literally the same thing as the O for I. I'll show you the O for I in a second. Now, what it does is it gets a list of RFPs, requests for proposals, from a model object. It then loops through the first 50 of them, pulls out some data values, and then fires the extract verbose from Skills Cloud. Those of you who've used, well, any machine learning APIs, not just this one, know that this is going to take a few seconds. This is not going to be a fast thing to do. And with 50 items, this is going to take a couple of minutes. So this is not going to be a fast thing to run. It's going to pull out those skills. It's going to flatten out those skills, and then it's going to patch them into that same model object that I picked up the information from. So this is a fairly reasonable thing to do. However, if I want this to be cancelable, I need to think about this, because where could I put a cancel here that would actually make any sense at all? If I put the cancel right before this patch, well, this patch is inside of a loop. So some of my data values would be updated and some of my data values wouldn't be. So that cancel doesn't make any sense at all if I put it immediately in anywhere here. I need to change my design. This becomes a fun design conversation about, okay, where is it actually safe to cancel? Let's do the same process, but with a slightly different, one fun little change. So I'm going to take that same thing, and you'll notice that when I've moved to a different orchestration, I had all this extra space. Thank you to the orchestration builder team. Thank you for making these persistent and not making me open and close. Like, I need this bigger. I need this bigger. I need this bigger. Thank you for that. So notice that these now save is such a nice quality of life improvement. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm pulling some data from a model object. I extract all the values. I get the skills. And you'll notice that what I'm doing is I'm just assembling everything into one big patch body. It's only 50 items. I can do this on a bulk API call. So what this means is now there's actually a really sensible cancellation barrier just with a small change in the way that I'm doing the work. By pulling everything into a patch body and then doing a cancellation barrier between setting all the information, getting everything all gathered into one nice neat package and patching it all in, well, I can cancel at any point before this patch and my data is still consistent. So that's what I want you to think about with this cancellation barrier. It's not just about, can I kill this process? It's where can I kill this process that is going to be safe and effective? And with a little bit of thinking, you can often, with a design, split your work up into, okay, I'm going to package everything up and then I'm going to send it on over. And oftentimes when we're doing these sorts of bulk API calls, I'm just doing a straight bulk call here, but you could use the batch framework or an import call in SOAP. Those actually tend to be way more performant too. So absolutely, Vamshi, I'll show you how to set this cancellation barrier. Just give me one sec. So what this does is this tells me that I can put everything in one spot, get everything ready, package it all up, and then send it out. How do I set this cancellation barrier? I go up to the orchestration settings, and it'll say cancel orchestration. So I can now say allow users to cancel at a specified point, either at the end of the orchestration or inside. And it's the one that you want it to be immediately after. So format patch body is the create text template. And that's where I set the cancellation barrier. That answer your question, Vamshi? Awesome. And you'll notice that it's exactly the same. So that was an async. This is an O for I, so integration framework trigger. It's exactly the same. And the fun part is, if I've set that cancellation barrier on an O for I, then I can cancel anytime we'd like. So now I can do the cancellation request hits, and it actually aborts. If you set a cancellation barrier on an O for I that is part of a BP, you'll notice when you cancel the BP, it'll abort the O for I inside of it as well. If your O for I is still running, it will try to run a cancel. And if you've got a cancellation barrier set, it will actually try to abort it. So again, nice work to Workday on that one. That's I didn't really expect that one to work, but it works quite nicely. Any questions on how to stop an O for I before I start moving on into some of the other neat things that start cropping up? As usual, throw them into chat. Correct, Sage. Yep, your understanding is correct. So if I am anywhere before this cancellation barrier, it will cancel it. As soon as I pass this cancellation barrier, then I can no longer cancel this O for I. This O for I will only complete. It'll work its way all the way through. You can only have a single cancellation barrier. So that's why I wanted to highlight that you need to really think about, okay, can I collect all my data and then process all my data? Or do I need to, if I need to be processing as I go, how cancelable is that orchestration really? So yes, you only get one cancellation barrier. And once this patch starts, cannot be canceled. Great question. Now I mentioned that there's not one, but two APIs around orchestrations. The first one is the Orchestrate Insights API. So this is going to give us information based on a couple of things. Really what it's doing is it's looking at the orchestration runs inside of the logs. So if you're this is a reporting tool, it's looking at your logs to find things. You may think, well, why don't I just look in the logs? Because this can be really handy and it's going to surface some really great information for you. There are some other cool things you can do with this. Specifically, I'm going to highlight this particular API because I think it's really the most useful, at least for actual operational work. However, if you need to pull out a list of your apps or apps by org, this can be very cool. Now, wait a minute, you're like app by org, not by tenant? Yeah, exactly. These are going to have a couple of different things. Specifically, if you provide a tenanted token, you get the apps and the orgs, or the apps and the runs and the orchestrations from that one tenant. And if you come on, Zoo, play nice. And if you supply a token from your dev site, you get access to everything that you'd see inside the logs, which is all tenants at all confidences. So that can be really handy, but it's more useful for a developer. It's not really something you build a production app around because people are not going to go out and get tokens. If they're going out to get a dev site token, they're probably a developer and they're probably doing something from a development standpoint. So the all tenant stuff is awesome, but awesome for the people on this call, not awesome for your customers. The tenanted tokens, however, are things you can actually build an app for. So when I was looking at this, DevRel's got a really cool little application out on the Orchestrate Insights API. Definitely check it out if you're interested in it. But I'm looking at this thing, okay, how would I use that in a sentence? And the answer is, I'm going to use a tenanted API call here. Bring your own token for prod apps. Yeah, Demetrio, that. Yeah, that's awesome, but could also get dangerous. Um, I'm looking at this from a tenanted API standpoint, and I was really trying to narrow down, okay, exactly what security is required to do some of this stuff. And it's a little more open than you might think. The other thing I want to highlight here is because we're creating the logs, it says 30 days only. You only get 30 days worth of information. So this is recent runs only. If you've got a problem that stretches back a couple of months, you're not going to be able to get that much data beyond 30 days. Now, let's go take a look at what we can determine with this. If I take a look at the orchestrations APIs, let me just refresh this page. I'm going to apologize to Angie in advance. I understand that this is the anti-bedazzled page. All those beautiful new user interface items that we talked about earlier, and I used none of them. However, it does tell a story. So that asynchronous orchestration that I was just showing you, I know, Angie, I hang my head in shame. That asynchronous orchestration that I was just showing you, the one with the cancellation barrier, I can launch that from here. So I can launch it just from a page action button. I have set up some wrappers here, but we'll play around a little bit with what that does. And I hit launch. When I launch this, what it's going to do is it's going to launch an orchestration and give me an orchestration run ID. Now, that orchestration run ID is kind of important. Why is it important? Let me just bounce back here, because I need the run ID in order to get the information on it. So if I want to see the status of this asynchronous orchestration, I need to know the run ID. So I can hit a status check here. This is going to go out and check and say, okay, that orchestration has been running for 28.39 seconds. And it also is going to give me some interesting information on processes, specifically the orchestration status, successful and fail steps. Now you may ask, why would I care about that? Because those don't get filled out until my asynchronous orchestration is completed. So in this case, I've got steps successful and steps failed on my first process, and I can actually use that as a way of determining if my asynchronous orchestration is completed or not. You may be asking, well, why would I care about that? Well, what if what I'm doing takes longer than 30 seconds? You'll notice that this asynchronous orchestration has been running for 28 seconds at this point. It hasn't timed out because there's nothing actually running against my gateway. This means that I can run an asynchronous orchestration here, understand that it can take way longer than 24-second gateway timeouts, and I can always see how long it takes. So this has been running for 1 minute and 38 seconds at this point. And when it completes, it's going to populate a bunch of data down here. So I will still have to click the status check. This will need to be a refresh button. I'll need to madly click it over and over and over again in order to get that data to populate. But it does give me a clean, effective way of dealing with really long runtime API calls. Further, I can actually cancel this thing. So it's been running for 2.7. It hasn't finished yet. If I hit cancel here, I can request to cancel, and what I will see is if I haven't started the last step yet, I completed it before I hit cancel. As you can see, I can cancel from that button, however. Now there's some tricky bits that are going on behind the scenes, and we'll dig into those in just a second. But I want you to understand that, pass back here, that completed, I can tell that there's 1,000 steps successful, and that means I can go fill in all of my data. I'm going to launch another one. It's just going to do the same thing. Check my status, and I'm going to cancel this one. So cancel is requested. If I go back to my orchestration APIs, I've just launched and canceled an asynchronous orchestration through the user interface. So this is why I think those tenanted APIs are really useful. Now, there is a trick. The trick here is that these runs can be canceled from this information, from this interface as well. So if I'm on the dev site, I can cancel and kill from here. We'll talk more about that in just a second. But what I used was I got the run ID from the launch. When I pick up the run ID from the launch, I get to a place where I can pull the status. Once I know the status, I know that it's running. I can say, you know what, I want to cancel this. I want to make this available to cancel. And to cancel, I'm going to use the other Orchestrate API toolkit. So notice we've got two different tool sets. We've got one that allows us to look up stuff in the logs, and we've got one that allows us to actually operate against the orchestrations themselves. This is the one that we all know and love and use all the time because this allows us to launch orchestrations. Well, pretty handy thing. Um, it also allows you to get metadata and schemas, which are also useful if you're doing, pipelines and such. So this is all about build. But the two that I'm going to talk about here are puts that allow us to kill and or cancel. There's a whole KSS on how to do verbose logging, so I don't want to recreate that. But verbose logging can also be turned on through this API as well. Go check out the KSS for that one. So how do I use cancel in a sentence? How do we actually go about running this cancel? Well, I need an orchestration name. I need an orchestration ID. And I need a token. Now you'll notice that this works with either type of token. It works with a tenanted token or it works with a developer site token. So remember I was saying that you could actually cancel something from that UI? I should probably show you that. So I'm going to start a run here. I've got started a new launch. And if I go over to the developer site, orc launch can be a put, a post, or a get, and has always accepted all three. They just never really popularized it. But yeah, good catch, Srinivas. So you'll notice on this one that's running, I can either cancel or kill. I'm going to cancel first. It's going to make sure that I'm logged into the tenant, and it does cancel requested and then canceled. So this allows me to work from this place as well. Now for a cancel, I think cancel is more of a user-facing tool. I would be happy to have this button for canceling an async orchestration entirely within a user tool because I've got the cancellation barrier. I can make sure it's a safe place for them to do it. I can control when it's visible, when it's not visible. Cancel, I think, is actually a pretty solid user visible tool. There's going to be times when they do something that, okay, yeah, no, we just want to cancel that. Now, cancel it's nice. It's polite. It is very not John Wick. There is another way. There is a kill. So we can kill processes. Now that kill does not respect cancellation barriers. It doesn't respect anything. It says that thing's out there. I need it to stop right now. Now it's still a request and a response process. So when we go to kill async, let me launch this and show you the way that I think you should be using this. So I've got another async orchestration running. The way I think you should use kill, if you're going to kill something, kill it from within the dev portal. This is something you're going to want to sign off on. You want to make sure that everybody involved knows that you're doing this. Come into the dev portal, hit kill orchestration, the big red scary button. It's going to warn you, you should not do this unless it's the absolute last resort. And when you hit kill, it's going to actually make you say, I confirm. Yeah, it feels like canceling Netflix. And boom, we are now killed. Are you sure? Are you really sure? Double check, check again. Take a moment to think about this. But there's going to be times where you've got, these async orchestrations can really run a long time nowadays, and they can actually, scatter a lot of damage. And so sometimes you just need to stop it, make it all stop as fast as you can. This is the method I'm going to recommend for you. However, is it possible to do anything otherwise? And the answer is yes. There is something that I do need to highlight here. When we're canceling with our tenant, when we're going through cancel with a put or a kill with a put, I want to highlight something, and this is really important, is that you just need to be authenticated for this. So you can cancel an orchestration that you can't actually launch. You can kill an orchestration that you can't actually launch. So there's no extra check here. I sort of thought, okay, well, probably need integration build or something. But to test this out, I built an ISU. I gave it basically no access. I launched it at that async that we were just looking at, and I was able to cancel it with an ISU that had no access but could actually go to the tenant. Once you can authenticate, you can actually do this. And what does that mean? Do not present run IDs to your users. This is, yes, you could do something nefarious with this. It would be a sophisticated attack. You'd have to guess the app name, the orchestration name, and a run ID, which is a giant hash. I'm not overly worried about that, but it is something that I want to highlight. It's something that you need to be aware of, that you can cancel something here. Yes, and if you're a Workday Extend Archmage, then these things are pretty easy. But for the rest of us mere mortals, guessing a hash is a little trickier. But you do need to be aware that it's possible. So that kill can happen even if you don't have the access for it. So be careful with that one. How do you handle that? Well, I'm going to recommend one piece of security through obscurity, and that's using a wrapper orchestration. So in my page, I am not calling this orchestration directly. In order to give my app at least the feel or look that it is respecting security, what I've got is I have a synchronous orchestration. I pass it the orchestration that I'm trying to launch, and this synchronous orchestration has a security domain on it. I've got another one for canceling. Again, very similar orchestration and has a security domain on it. This means that when my app is trying to do something, if somebody doesn't have the access, by passing it through the wrapper will do a security check. Could that user nefariously go out behind the scenes, guess a hash, guess all the right values and do a kill? Yeah, they could. But that's a pretty sophisticated attack, and like they've made an appointment for that. That's not something that they could accidentally do. So this gives you a reasonable amount of access control, and I think it's at least a half decent middle ground. still like to see that locked down a little bit better. Generally, I'm going to say I want you to kill with the user interface. Like say, have that build a process around it, make sure there's a sign off on it, because if you're killing something, I want to highlight when you do a kill, it's going to leave your data in an uncontrolled state. Wherever that orchestration was, that's where it stopped. And what's going to happen is you now need to go audit all the data that that orchestration could have been touching. That's a ton of work. So anytime you do a kill, you have to do a data audit. I think you should do a data audit. Do you have to? No, of course not. You can do what you like. However, you're going to really appreciate doing a data audit to make sure that your data is in a state that you understand and accept. I think you'll find that kills are really a last resort. If we've got an orchestration, it's gone off the rails, and my tenant is now having stability problems. I need to make this stop. Ask me how I know. I've done that. Um, I was trying to make a long running orchestration to start playing around with the new 48-hour time limits, and yeah, kind of glad to kill after that one. But I'm going to suggest do this with the UI. Don't put this into your application. This is not something that should be common. And if you don't know who Princess Donut, the Queen Anne chunk is, I'm going to highlight here, go out there and read some Dungeon Crawler Carl, and now get out there and kill, kill, kill. Again, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Hello, crawlers. Got to throw some donut up there. So again, how do we do that kill? All we need is we need to know the orchestration. We need to know the run ID. Yes, Mongo was appalled by the fact that I could actually kill these things with just a button click. And you can see if I hit the launch async here, I can hit kill async. That's going to do a kill, and we'll see that operating here. This code is, yes, this code's totally available for you. You can see we've launched and killed here very effectively using that API call. Hey, I'm not above any and all tricks. And Princess Donut, who can resist Princess Donut? Look at that charisma score. All I want you to see here in this code is these are just launching those same orchestrations. Remember I said to wrap this up in a wrapper so that you've got some degree of control over who can and can't cancel and kill through your application. Like I say, I don't think I would ever put a production setup here on a kill that could be done through an app. You'd have to argue me into that one. Yeah, I can think of a few cases where it might make sense, but I would generally say try to resist the kills and keep everything to cancels and thoughtfully set those cancel barriers. The cancel barriers, I think, will be really effective for you, and I think will give you everything that you actually need. So, any questions? No spoilers on book 8. I have it, but I haven't started yet.
I'm still working through book 6. I'm so slow.
You'll find this app. Yeah, there's a link to the app in the post that Chris shared right at the very beginning. This app is available for everyone. Just grab it off of the GitHub there. Oh, and I do want to do a little shout out for DevRel on their app. Just one moment. So the Orchestrate Insights APIs, they've got an install orchestration. So they build an orchestration for integrations, and then they've got an install that creates the integration for you. Okay, guys, that was sweet. I gotta say, big shout out for that one. That was well played.